Okay, one common question is what happens when your oxygen finish? Um, this makes me open up an important topic. So, most of the time, actually almost 100% of the times, in the gas that we have on our back is not pure oxygen. Okay, so what we have, it's a mix of oxygen, nitrogen, and sometimes helium. And of course, when you started as a beginner, most likely you have compressed air in the gas that you use for breathing. That being said, I would say that in some cases you breathe something which is called nitrox, which means that it has like a slightly increased percentage of oxygen in the gas that you breathe in. What is compressed air? Compressed air is very simple. It's the air that we get from atmosphere, and it just gets compressed through using a compressor. And using this machine, it is possible to fill the tanks that we use for breathing up to a pressure of 200-220 bars, and then after that you can take it with you down in water and you can breathe through a regulator. If there is availability for nitrox, you can use for breathing a gas which has like a slightly higher percentage of oxygen. It is very common to breathe like nitrox 32, which is a gas which has like 32% oxygen, as the name says, or sometimes you can have 36% oxygen, or you can use, but mostly not for bottom phase of the dive, you can use 50% oxygen. But this is mostly something that you use, the higher concentration of oxygen is what you use when you do decompression dives, and this helps you go through the decompression process much faster. So again, coming back to the initial question, we do not really have oxygen in the tanks that we have on our back, and in reality we usually have a gas which a much lower percentage of oxygen, which can be compressed air or nitrox 32, or in case of deeper dives it can be trimix, where we have like lower percentage of oxygen, a reduced percent of nitrogen as well, and helium is added to the mixture just to make the gas slightly easier to breathe, and of course to also reduce the narcosis caused by nitrogen as well as oxygen. I believe the most important phase of the preparation for scuba diving, it is the analysis of the gas that you use for breathing. So this is a really important step of the process, because too much oxygen can kill you, as well as too less oxygen can create problems with the decompression calculation that you have on your computer. Okay, let me explain why analysis is important. So you can have situation when the gas that you use for breathing has a higher percentage of oxygen that would, compared to what you have in your plan. So imagine that, for example, you breathe compressed you plan to use compressed air for your dive, or maybe not compressed air, but you use a trimix like 2135. Okay, and instead of 2135 trimix, you get in your tanks let's say nitrox 32%. This can happen. Okay, you are in a dive center and maybe someone switches some tags or switches some tanks by mistake, and instead of having 2135 in your tank, you have 32%. Is this a problem? Well, depends how deep you go. Okay, so the idea with nitrox is that it has an increased percentage of oxygen, and oxygen, once you reach a partial pressure of oxygen higher than 1.6 bar, becomes toxic. Okay, so too much oxygen in the gas that you are breathing can create problems if you go deeper. So unlike what a lot of people think, using nitrox is not allowing you to dive deeper. Using nitrox has the benefit that it might allow you to dive longer on a specific depth, because it might reduce the decompression obligation that you might have after that. But in no way nitrox or a higher percentage of oxygen allows you to dive deeper. Okay, so this is one important detail. This is why you always need to be perfectly clear and perfectly sure about what you are breathing. It's very important to always analyze the gases that you will take down with you underwater, and never dive tanks that you did not analyze personally. It can happen that, for example, instead of nitrox 32, in your tanks you end up with maybe, let's say, compressed air. You might actually accumulate a much higher decompression obligation in reality, okay, compared to what your computer is showing. So if you come up and you don't follow the real decompression process that you must do if you are on compressed air, okay, so not on nitrox 32, you might end up with DCS, okay, which can be a significant problem and can, cripple you for life. Narcosis is a very interesting topic, and I think that narcosis, it's not something that can be defined by a very clear line. Okay, so you cannot say that, yeah, now I'm feeling the narcosis, or okay, now I'm fine after that. I think so far there were, I had situations when I felt slightly, losing a little bit control in some moments, especially, for example, if you have situation when you start the descent, then you stop maybe for doing some S drills or check things on your equipment, or you just switch tanks. Let's say you are breathing a travel gas and then you switch to your back gas, and then maybe something happens, for example, or this process is not as smooth as you expect it to be, and for this reason you work a little bit more, and then after you finish this process, you start going down fast, but without actually having time to relax and to breathe out properly. I feel on the moment, I feel while going down that something becomes sketchy for maybe, let's say, 2-3 minutes, and once you go down and you calm and everything becomes relaxed, and you adjust again to the depth where you are, this feeling goes away. This might be probably, it is probably something related to carbon dioxide that you accumulate while you do these drills, or you try to fix something on your gear which is not properly done, and you do not have time to remove this from your body, and then you compress it when you go down, and I think this can affect as well, because carbon dioxide, as far as I know, it is much more potent in terms of narcosis, even compared to nitrogen or oxygen. Other situation, I would say that first time when I go on air under 30 meter, it was something similar, like a similar feeling. Once we reached the bottom around 30-31, it literally felt that someone punch you in your face, and then you are trying to recover for that, and then it takes maybe 2-3 minutes to again relax, and then get adjusted to the depth and breathe again normally, and after things get better. Okay, but again, this might be, and it is probably related to carbon dioxide, because you go down, and then on that moment, the moment when you go down, the density of the gas that you breathe increases, and probably this is making a little bit more difficult to exhale and to remove carbon dioxide from your system. And it takes a little bit of time until it really, it goes away, and then everything comes back to normal. Eating before diving can have some effects. If you have a large meal before you dive, and you are going to use this super horizontal trim position, it's not really the best idea, because you will feel sometimes that food is coming from your stomach towards your throat, which is something that you definitely don't want to feel. This is why before diving I would recommend only very light meals, fruits, or something that you can digest quickly, and keep larger meals for the moment when you finish the dive. After dive you can go enjoy food and eat whatever you like, but don't take anything heavy before you go diving. I think people die every year in scuba diving because they don't understand their limits. If you understand your limits and you accept to work within your limits, you can be pretty safe as long as you plan properly and you do your dives as you follow the plan that you make. There is, however, this concept which is coming from let's say different areas, different industries, that you should always push your limit, you should go forward. This doesn't work in diving. Okay, so this is something which you should not do on your own. You want to push your limit, plan actually even for that. So if you want to push your limit, work with an instructor to help you to push your limit. Work with someone who is already on the level that you want to achieve before you start pushing your limit. Okay, it is really dumb to go like with a single tank and to dive to 80 meters and then to just come back hoping that everything will be okay. This is not pushing your limits. Okay, this is just being stupid. The book says that alcohol after diving is a bad idea. Practice shows that drinking one beer after diving is not such a bad idea. You take it how you like it.